Hi guys, today's video will be a day in the life of a medical coder. I hope you guys enjoy it and thank you for watching. Alright, so we are going to be in the female genital system in my 2022 CPT book. And the first thing that I'm going to go over is a patient that is seen at our ambulatory surgical center. And she came in due to menorrhagia. She wants to have the IUD removed, and this is also going to be a sterilization procedure done laparoscopically. We're going to be removing both of the fallopian tubes. So again, we are in the female genital system, and the first CPT code that I'm just going to look for in order for the menorrhagia, we are doing a hysteroscopy, DNC, and endometrial ablation. So right now you have the vulva, perineum, and introitus. We will not be in that section. We are going to look for the corpus uteri, which is this section here, and you'll see you'll have your endometrial procedures, and then there's some hysterectomies, and then we get to the introduction section. And because we are going to be doing a hysteroscopy, you want to look under hysteroscopy, and you're going to look for the one that is with endometrial ablation. So hysteroscopy, surgical with sampling of endometrium and or polypectomy with or without DNC. Normally you would want to bubble like from here to here and circle around these, so that way you know all these procedures are together or are bubbled together. So this is like the primary code, if you want to say that, but then these are codes that include the hysteroscopy and DNC. So if they're only doing a hysteroscopy and DNC only, or polypectomy, then you would just code this one only. But since we're doing this with an endometrial ablation, our code is 58563, and our next CPT code is going to be for the removal of the IUD, which is just a page back, and that is 58301, removal of intrauterine device. And that is on page 445 if you are in the same book that I'm in. And then a page over for the hysteroscopy, DNC, and endometrial ablation, that was on 447. So next we are going to look for a laparoscopy for the removal of the fallopian tubes. So underneath oviduct and ovary on page 448, we see laparoscopy, and we're going to be looking for laparoscopy surgical with removal of adnexal structures. So again, if you guys liked to bubble in your books, you would just have to bubble all of these, but don't forget the ones that you have at the top. These are also laparoscopic procedures. So we're going to be billing 58661, and I'm going to bill that twice because we did it on the left and right side. So you can use LT, RT modifiers, or you can use modifier 50 on both 58661, which indicates that this is a bilateral procedure done on both sides. So those are my CPT codes. Now we're going to move over here to ICD-10. And let me see, where are my diagnosis codes? Okay, so for the menorrhagia, we are going to be looking in our diseases of genitourinary system and menorrhagia not otherwise specified, and 92.0 excessive and frequent menstruation with regular cycle. So that is going to be linked with my 58563. And then for the other two procedures, those ones are going to be in the back, and they're going to be Z codes. So Z3432 for the removal of the intrauterine device will be linked to the 58301. And then Z30.2 Where are you at? Right there. Sterilizations. Encounter for sterilization highlighted in orange. That is going to go with my 58661 CPT codes. You guys, I actually have my nails done in this video and they look so pretty. Now, I'm not the best painter, but I do want to shout out Madam Glam. I got to pick my 3 polishes and I chose I Amore, Amore, and Riverwalk. And Riverwalk is what I'm wearing in the video. And they also sent me the top coat and the base coat. I have the LED light or lamp to be able to cure my nails. And they send you a little card that tells you step by step on how to apply your gel polish. They even gave us a coupon code, you guys. So you guys can use Shamira30_wine to receive 30% off your first purchase. And there's actually a link that'll take you right to their site and automatically apply the coupon code, but you want to make sure that you use the pay as you go option, or it might automatically sign you up as a VIP member. So if you guys just want to try out the polishes, make sure you choose the pay as you go at checkout. Again, I want to say thank you to Madam Glam. Now let's get back to the video. Next, we have an outpatient surgery. Patient has positive HPV on her pap smear with a history of abnormal endocervical cells favoring neoplasia. She is here for a Leep conization. So for Leeps, we are still in the cervix uteri because this is going to be a conization where they're taking, actually I think there's a picture somewhere. I thought they gave a picture of it in one of the books. Maybe not. Anyway, they are taking a portion of the cervix. So this conization of the cervix is where we are going to be 57520, but we're not going to report the 20 because this was performed by a loop electrode, and I'm going to be reporting the 57522. So normally I would have written in here Leep next to 57522 so that I know that this is the loop electrode excision. But this is my new book, so I have not written much in here yet, but I know that when we have a Leep procedure, it's 57522. Now, for my diagnosis codes, I reviewed pathology, and there was adenocarcinoma in site 2, and this was on the I think it was on the endocervix as well. Yes. So D06.0 is what I'm going to report for that one. And R87810 for the, what was it? Positive HPV. So let's just go over to R87810. And that is up here. And as you can see, our excludes ones for R87810 do not say anything about D06. So yeah, right here is where we would look. You wouldn't look up here because these are R87.7 and that's not what we're reporting. We are reporting R87.810 and there's no excludes one for D06.0. Next up, we have encounter for prophylactic removal of fallopian tubes and ovaries due to a history of breast cancer. So when it comes to prophylactic removal of like any ovaries, fallopian tubes, whatever, you want to make sure that you use the Z40 diagnosis code as your primary diagnosis code. And you see that PDX right there, the little icon, that is telling you that this is supposed to be a primary diagnosis code only. So, let me see here. We are removing the ovaries and the fallopian tubes. So Z40.02 and Z40.03 are my first two diagnosis codes that I'm going to use. And then I'm also going to include the history of breast cancer. So this patient is no longer receiving any treatment, and that's what you want to look for when you're trying to figure out, are you coding the malignancy, if the patient still has it, or was it completely removed and the patient's no longer receiving treatment for it. So this patient no longer is receiving treatment. She already had everything removed. She was actually 5 years breast cancer free, so good for her. And we are just removing her fallopian tubes and ovaries. And that diagnosis code that we are going to report third is the Z85.3, personal history of malignant neoplasm of the breast. So that will be my third diagnosis. And then when I come over here, we want to go back over to the oviduct and ovaries laparoscopically, because this was done laparoscopically, and we are going to use the 58661 for removal of adnexal structures, partial or total oophorectomy, and or salpingectomy. So if they were only removing the ovaries, you would report this code, and if they were only removing the fallopian tubes, you would report this code, or if they're removing both, you still report this code. And I've reported it twice because we did it bilaterally. We didn't just do one side. And the code really doesn't say that this is a bilateral procedure. So I'm going to bill it twice. Again, you can use LTRT or use 50 on both lines. And let me just go over to what that modifier reads. For those of you that are like new to coding and you keep hearing me say 50 and you're like, 50 what? 50 what? $50. No. Bilateral procedure, unless otherwise identified in the listings. Bilateral procedures that are performed at the same session should be identified by adding modifier 50 to the appropriate 5-digit code. This modifier should not be appended to designated add-on codes. And I think this book might have the LTRT in here. Or that might be in the Hicks Picks book. Hang on, I seen an LT. Yep, LT, left side, used to identify procedures performed on the left side of the body, and then RT is the right side. So you usually don't have to report both, like you don't have to do LT 50 and then RT 50 on the other one. You usually can just do LT on one code and then RT on another code. And then my very last one that I have here is a vaginal delivery. I love reviewing deliveries just because, I don't know, I think they're just fun to read. So I'm going back to the female genital system, of course. Let me see. And I know it by color, so that's what I'm waiting on. Right here. And then I'm just going to look for our maternity and delivery section, which we're getting close. Here we are. And now we are looking for vaginal deliveries, because this was a vaginal delivery where we provided all the patient's prenatal care, and we'll provide her postnatal care, so the postpartum period. And we did the delivery. So I'm going to be reporting 59400 because we did not bill anything like E&M wise for all of her antepartum care or prenatal visits. We reported the tracking code, the 0502F, and I think that's like a category 3 code or category 2, one of those. I can show you guys in a second. But that's the code that I'm billing for this delivery, 59400. The patient had, or the baby had a tight nuchal cord. So that is going to be one of my O diagnosis codes. Actually, it's my only O diagnosis code. Besides that, this would have been a regular delivery, and I would have been able to bill or use the 080 diagnosis code. I think I have a tab here. Yes, nuchal cord. Okay, so nuchal cord 069-1 for tight. I have written labor and delivery complicated by cord around the neck with compression. So you see here, there's a check and then an X and a 7th. That tells you that this is a 7-digit code. So you need to have 069.1 XX0 because this is just for one single gestation. This is not a multiple gestation pregnancy, so we always report 0 for when it's one baby, and then if it were twins, you would use 1 for fetus A and 2 for fetus B. So 069-1 XX0 is what I am reporting for my primary diagnosis code. And then I need to get the weeks of gestation. That is going to be a Z code. And let me see. Z, weeks of gestation, she was 39 weeks, so Z3A 39, and then you also need to add the outcome of the delivery. Was the baby live born, stillborn, which one? And I'm reporting Z37.0. You see that this one has the UPD, and that one stands for unacceptable primary diagnosis code. So you should never have weeks of gestation or the outcome of delivery as your primary diagnosis code. Always put your O codes first. And then the M is letting you know that these are reported on the maternal or the mom's record. So maternity, and the age range for that is 9 to 64. Crazy, right? 9 years old to 64 is a maternity code for these ones that have the M. And they do show you in the very beginning of, or explain it to you in the beginning of your book. So let me just flip over there. Okay, so here we are in the beginning, and these are just showing you some of those ones that I was just telling you about. So newborn, age 0. Patient's age must be 0 years. Pediatric age, 0 to 17 years. Maternity age of 9 to 64 years. And then you have the adult age, and then so on and so forth. But that is it for this video, you guys. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.